Hi everyone, my name is Yayan Zhao. I'm a PhD student from Vanderbilt University. Today I'm very happy to introduce our work, Graphical Perception of Saliency-based Model Explanations, co-authored with Mingwei Li and Matthew Berger. Machine learning has revolutionized the way we solve complex problems in many fields. However, one of the main challenges is the black box nature of many models, which makes the model explanation becomes critical. By providing insights into how a model works, model explanation can help build trust in the model's results, and a human could have a better understanding of model behavior. As a concrete example, consider a machine learning model for visual recognition, where the goal of the model is to predict a category given an image. Numerous methods have been developed to explain such predictions, often realized by attributing importance to locations in the image that are most relevant to the model's reasoning, which is also known as saliency-based model explanation, or saliency map. The term saliency refers to the degree to which a feature is important to the model's decision-making process. These visual explanations have been deployed and their effectiveness studied across a diverse set of human-AI collaboration tasks. For example, in this scenario, the saliency map seems to capture the head of the dog, which makes the girl think the model pays attention to important features for recognizing the species of a dog. Thus, she accepts the model's prediction as spaniel, which is also the correct species of the dog. However, in another scenario, the saliency model explanation seems to capture the grass on the image, which is not important to recognize the species of a dog. Thus, the girl declines the model prediction, even if beagle is the correct species. As we can see from these examples, how humans perceive model explanations is important to them when making decisions in human-AI collaboration tasks. In other words, the communication between human and the model explanation plays an important role here. There are numerous factors that underlie such communication. First, the content of the explanation itself. Second, the visual encoding choices made by designers for displaying an explanation. And third, how a human perceives the resulting visualization. Most of existing studies on model explanation treat visual encoding and graphical perception in Step 2 and 3 as a fixed process. In our work, we argue that visual encoding in Step 2 will significantly influence the graphical perception in Step 3, and therefore a better understanding of how Step 2 can influence Step 3 can provide a clearer picture on how human consumes model explanations. More specifically, as we mentioned in the previous examples, we view perception of alignment between saliency explanation and object on the image as playing an important role, although not complete, in how humans perceive model explanations. We hope this better understanding of perception can shed light on why humans make judgments that concern machine learning models. Thus, in this work, we conduct a user study to investigate how visualization design impacts graphical perception of saliency-based model explanation, especially in terms of perception of alignment. To answer this question, we proposed 4 hypotheses that we seek to verify through our user study. These hypotheses are based on the plausible factors we think might influence human perception of the visualization of saliency map. First, the type of visual encoding will influence human perception of visual explanations. As we can see in this figure, for 3 different alignment relationships between the object and the saliency map, we visualize the saliency map in 3 visualization types: binary mask, contour, and heat map. In cases where saliency maps align well or misalign with the object, we do not anticipate visualization playing a role in perception. However, when model explanations are imperfect, giving rise to ambiguity in alignment, we anticipate that how saliency maps are visually encoded will impact human perception. This inspired us the first plausible factor that may influence human perception of visual explanations, that is, the visual encoding of saliency map. We should study the visual encoding along 2 axes. First, the level of detail afforded by the visual range of a visual encoding. Second, the level of detail specified in the data domain of a visual encoding. For the visual range, we chose 3 visualization types which encode saliency maps in various amount of detail. Binary masks give the least amount of detail based on a single threshold on the saliency values. Contour visualizations give a discrete amount of detail based on multiple levels on the saliency values. Heat map visualizations permit the widest amount of detail based on a continuous color scale. Thus, in hypothesis 1, we anticipate that human perception of alignment will be impacted by the level of detail offered by different types of visual encoding. Now let's move on to the second hypothesis. The type of alignment will impact perception in a data-dependent manner. Let me first introduce what is alignment type. Alignment type is another factor that we believe impacts human perception of alignment. We binarize the saliency map using an appropriate threshold and classify the alignment relationship between the binarized saliency map and object into three types: overestimation, underestimation, and partial alignment, where overestimation refers to the binarized saliency map fully covers the object and even covers more than the object. The rest can be done in the same manner. Now let's go back to the other axis of visual encoding, the data domain, which controls the portions of data to be encoded. For a binary mask, the value at which the threshold of the saliency map is treated as a data filtering parameter. A given threshold will result in selectively showing only regions in the image whose saliency value exceeds the threshold. Within a contour-based visualization, we allow for specifying a single saliency value as a base level, representing the minimum saliency at which to display contours. We then generate an equal-spaced sequence of saliency values ranging from the base level to the largest value in the saliency map, and produce a small set of curves that each encode a distinct saliency value from the sequence. In the heat map visualization, clamping maximum values in the data domain can be beneficial in displaying a wider range of colors for a narrow range of data values. We control the saliency range that will be color encoded in visualization through two visualization parameters. Beyond that, the heat map saturates, and one may see them as a way of removing outlying saliency values from the data. Given the factors on alignment type and data domain of visual encoding, we hypothesize that the type of alignment will impact perception in a data-dependent manner. For the third hypothesis, we hypothesize that the spatial distribution of the saliency map will influence perception of visual encoding. For the dataset we used in our study, we select 1,800 images from the ImageNet and obtain the segmentation marks for each object on the image from ImageNet X dataset. For each image, we used ResNet 50 to make predictions about it, and applied GradCam to generate saliency-based explanations for the model predictions of that image. Here is the interface of our user study. We deployed three visualization types: heat map, contour, and binary mask, and recruit 30 participants for each type. Each participant needs to complete 60 trials based on 60 images and their corresponding saliency maps. For each trial, we equally sample 9 visualization parameters from a design space, and arrange them randomly in a 3x3 grid to eliminate the effect of ordering. Let's take a look at the analysis of our user study results. In the first analysis, we studied how the design space of visualization influences participant responses. We propose to use the number of positive responses provided by a participant as a proxy for the design space coverage. The more positive responses provided, the more that the user agrees with the visualization's design space for a given saliency map. As shown in the left figure, we find that visualization type has a significant impact on the number of positive responses from participants, especially when the saliency map has high level of alignment. This suggests that participants utilize the additional information presented in contour and heat map visualization, such as discarding certain regions in the image as unimportant given their visual encoding. For example, the participant of the heat map appeared to ignore the less bright regions surrounding the polar bear and forgive dark regions around the waist of the bear that connect the two brighter regions, which are the upper and lower body of the bear, whereas the participants of the binary mask considers disconnected upper and lower body in binary mask visualizations less tolerable. Likewise, we find the alignment type and the spatial distribution of saliency map also plays an important role in human perception of alignment. Please check out our paper for the other interesting findings in our analysis. In our second analysis, we built a perception model based on these plausible factors we proposed in order to best represent the binary judgments provided by participants on each visualization design of saliency map. Based on the perceptual model, we also built an interactive prototype intended for visualization designers to explore the design space of visualizations in communicating saliency maps. Please check out our paper for more details. In this work, we studied how visualization design impacts human graphical perception of saliency-based model explanations. Our findings show that factors related to visualization design decisions, the type of alignment, and the spatial distribution of saliency map all play important roles in how humans perceive saliency-based visual explanations. For visualization designers, our findings can inspire the future visualization design of saliency explanations for different scenarios. For machine learning researchers, our perception model may encourage saliency-based explanations that are more human-centered. Future study of human-centered evaluation of saliency-based explanations should also incorporate more perceptually grounded visualization designs in order to better understand the influence of visualization design in the explanation-based model evaluation.
Thanks.